A startup just built an AI that can do everything a software engineer does, and they want to replace all of them. Not automate parts of the job, not assist developers with suggestions, replace them entirely. Write the code, debug the errors, test the application, deploy to production, all by itself. No human engineer required. The startup is called Cognition Labs. Their AI is called Devin. And when they demonstrated it to the world in March 2024, the software engineering community went into panic mode. Developers called it fake. Companies called it revolutionary. And Silicon Valley poured over $2 billion into the company, trying to figure out which side was right. This is the story of the AI that wants to make software engineers obsolete. And the truth is more complicated and more terrifying than either side admits. Cognition Labs was founded in 2023 by Scott Wu, a former competitive programmer who won international mathematics and programming competitions before studying at Harvard. He co-founded Cognition with a team of researchers who had previously worked at DeepMind, Scale AI, Cursor, and other top AI companies. Their thesis was simple and ambitious. The best AI models can already reason through complex problems. What if you gave AI the same tools a software engineer has and let it reason through an entire coding project from start to finish? In March 2024, they introduced Devin to the world. Devin is not a coding assistant like GitHub Copilot that suggests lines of code inside your editor. Devin is an autonomous AI software engineer. You give Devin a task in plain English: build me a web application that tracks cryptocurrency prices, create a machine learning model that predicts customer churn, fix this bug in our production codebase. Devin opens its own browser, opens its own code editor, plans the project step by step, writes the code, runs tests, identifies errors, fixes them, searches the internet for documentation when it gets stuck, and delivers a working result. In their demonstration, Devin completed real freelance engineering tasks from Upwork. Tasks posted by real clients paying real money. Devin completed them independently, and the clients were satisfied. The AI community exploded. Cognition Labs made extraordinary claims about Devin's capabilities, and the numbers they cited were genuinely shocking. On SWE-bench, an industry-standard benchmark that tests AI systems on real software engineering problems from GitHub, Devin solved 13.86% of problems independently. The previous best AI system had solved 1.96%. Devin was 7 times better than anything that had existed before. Cognition raised $21 million in a seed round led by Founders Fund, Peter Thiel's venture capital firm. Then they raised another $2 billion at a valuation of over $2 billion in less than 1 year, with no revenue, based entirely on the promise of what Devin could become. The narrative was intoxicating. Software engineers make an average of $150,000 per year in the United States. There are approximately 4 million software engineers in America. If Devin could replace even a fraction of them, the economic impact would be in the hundreds of billions. And for companies paying massive engineering salaries, the appeal was obvious. Y Combinator, the most prestigious startup accelerator in the world, started advising its portfolio companies to think about whether they still needed to hire engineers at all. That sentence alone tells you how seriously Silicon Valley was taking this. Then the developers pushed back. Hard. A software engineer named Carl Vinkier conducted an independent analysis of Devin and published his findings. He found that Devin frequently got confused on complex tasks. It would go in circles, repeating failed approaches without recognizing they were not working. On tasks that required understanding a large existing codebase, Devin struggled significantly. And the benchmark number of 13.86%, while impressive compared to previous AI, still meant Devin failed on 86% of real engineering problems. Other developers who tested Devin reported similar experiences. Devin worked well on simple, isolated tasks. Build this small feature. Write this function. Fix this specific bug with clear instructions. But on complex, ambiguous, real-world engineering projects, Devin frequently required significant human intervention to produce usable results. The SWE-bench benchmark tests were conducted under optimal conditions with carefully structured problems. Real software engineering is messier. Requirements change. Code bases have decades of technical debt. Business logic is undocumented. A client says, "Build me something that does this," and you spend 3 meetings figuring out what this actually means. Devin excels at the mechanical part of coding. It struggles with the human part of software engineering. Understanding unclear requirements, asking the right questions, making judgment calls when specifications conflict. Reading between the lines of what a client actually needs. Senior engineers responded with a mixture of amusement and concern. Amusement because they knew their jobs were not immediately at risk. Concern because they could see where this technology was heading. Here is where the story gets genuinely scary. Not for senior engineers. For junior engineers and new graduates. The software engineering job market has already changed dramatically. In 2022 and early 2023, the tech industry was desperate for developers. Jobs were abundant. Salaries were soaring. Every company needed engineers. Then, AI coding tools proliferated. GitHub Copilot, Cursor, Tabnine, Codium. These tools made existing developers dramatically more productive. A senior engineer with AI coding assistance can now produce the output of 2 or 3 engineers without it. Companies realized they needed fewer engineers to do the same amount of work. Junior engineering jobs collapsed first. Entry-level positions that used to be abundant became scarce. New computer science graduates found themselves competing for far fewer opportunities. The jobs that junior engineers used to do, writing boilerplate code, building basic features, fixing straightforward bugs, were being handled by senior engineers using AI tools. Devin accelerates this trend. If Devin can handle the tasks that junior engineers typically work on, companies have even less incentive to hire and train entry-level developers. The traditional career path of junior to mid-level to senior engineer becomes harder to start because the bottom rung of the ladder is disappearing. This is the real danger of Devin. Not replacing senior software engineers immediately, blocking the pipeline that creates the next generation of senior engineers. But here is the counter-argument that deserves serious consideration. Every major technology shift in history that was predicted to eliminate jobs created more jobs than it destroyed. The spreadsheet was supposed to eliminate accountants. Instead, it created millions of financial analyst jobs. The internet was supposed to destroy retail. Instead, it created e-commerce, logistics, and digital marketing industries that employ far more people than traditional retail ever did. If Devin and similar tools make software development dramatically cheaper and faster, more companies will build software products. Companies that could not afford development teams before will now be able to. New applications, new platforms, and new digital services will emerge that nobody has imagined yet, and those new products will need engineers to oversee AI, validate outputs, handle complex problems, and manage the systems that AI builds. The role of software engineer will transform. The question is whether that transformation creates more opportunities than it destroys. History suggests it will, but history also shows that transformations are painful for those in the middle of them. So, where does this leave us? Devin is real. The technology works on a significant range of tasks. It will improve rapidly. Every 6 months, AI capabilities expand in ways that were considered impossible. The version of Devin that exists in 2027 will be dramatically more capable than the version that exists today. The software engineering profession will not disappear, but it will shrink in some areas and transform in others. The engineers who will thrive are those who understand how to direct AI, how to validate AI output, how to architect systems that AI cannot yet design, how to bridge the gap between what clients actually need and what can be built. Cognition Labs is not building a tool to assist engineers. They are explicit about this. They want to build AI colleagues that work autonomously. Their vision is a world where software is built primarily by AI, with human engineers overseeing strategy and direction rather than writing code line by line. Whether that world is 10 years away or 30 years away, one thing is certain. The engineers who learn to work with AI rather than against it will be the ones who survive the transition. And the companies that figure out how to deploy AI engineers effectively will have a cost structure that competitors relying purely on human engineers simply cannot match. Devin is not going to replace software engineers tomorrow, but it has already changed what software engineering looks like, and every month it gets better. The question is not whether AI will transform software development. It already has. The question is whether you are learning to stay ahead of that transformation or waiting to be caught by it. Do you think Devin will eventually replace software engineers? Drop your opinion in the comments. I genuinely want to know what developers think. I am Shadowtech, and I will see you in the next one.